Oh yeah!
Hello ladies and gentlemen of the media, my name is Lucas, aka Macho Emolga, and we are back for our Week 5 press conference against Dom Gets Okos and the Richmond Rayquazas. Now, last week, stop that little Macho, what are you doing? Back over there, just sit there, and make sure the room doesn't get too rowdy on us, okay? Okay. Now, as I was saying, last week we did suffer our first defeat of the season against my Turkey sub and the Chicago Cub Chews. Really a hard defeat for me to take because even going into the game I didn't feel prepared. I didn't feel like I prepared enough. And what ended up happening is I ended up getting schooled for it. I didn't bring enough for Suicune. I got too wrapped up on dealing with his ice-type weaknesses, too wrapped up in dealing with Umbreon and Sylveon. I thought Sylveon would be Cleric and lost my best check to Suicune way too early because it was Choice Specs instead. I didn't feel out anything at the very beginning of the game. I tried to make too many predictions early, and ultimately I paid for it and we lost that match. But it's a new week. We're still 3-1, we're still leading our division, and we still control our own destiny. And this week we're going up against the Richmond Rayquazas, an amazing team. I'm pretty sure they're either 3-1 or 4-0. I actually haven't looked at their record recently, but they are an amazing team. Dom is a really good battler, and I actually am now going to pull up their roster and kind of go over what they could be bringing this week. So, Richmond Rayquazas this week, their Mega is Mega Manectric, really an amazing Pokemon, highly underrated as a Mega. As a Mono Electric type, it only has a weakness to ground. It does get Intimidate after it Megas, so it will be something that can definitely put a check onto our bulky setup sweepers that are physical, such as Gyara. It's a hard check to Mega Gyara, and it's also a pretty decent check to Diggersby if it's packing HP Ice, which I feel like he will pack HP Ice on that thing just because we have Diggersby. And another reason I feel like he's going to be packing HP Ice is because of his first OU Pokemon, which is Heatran. ×4 weakness to ground, and not many other weaknesses, so we can see right away that his first two Pokemon highly susceptible to ground, so Diggersby looks like it would be a really good choice to bring this week. His second OU Pokemon is Slowbro, a really bulky wall, water psychic type. It gets amazing recovery, and it could really be a really big pain to deal with if we don't bring something that can knock it out in 2 hits. Next up, a new addition to his team, at least not new, but fairly recent addition, is Chestnut. Fighting grass type, 4 times weak to flying, could be a problem. Gets things like Spiky Shield and Spikes, so it can set a pretty decent hazard. It's a pretty decent bulky Pokemon, but not a great wall because it doesn't get really any form of recovery. Next up, we have Victini as his BL Pokemon. Really a Pokemon that I was highly considering drafting. It was probably my 3rd choice for my first overall pick behind Jirachi and Mew, just because of that base 100 stats across the board is really amazing. It can be amazing as a Choice Scarfer, Choice Bander, Choice Specs, Life Orb, Expert Belt, a lot of different things you can run on it. Unlike Jirachi, it can't really be a wall, because even though it has the stats for it, it doesn't really have the typing. Next up is Gligar. Pretty much the only thing I can imagine this thing being, if he does decide to bring it this week, is an Eviolite user. It's a ground flying type, so only weak to water and the ×4 weakness to ice, which, once again, that's another ×4 weakness on his team. He has ×4 weaknesses in Heatran, ×4 weakness in Chestnut, now ×4 weakness in Gligar, so we do have some typings that we're going to have to play around with. Next up, he has Mienshao. Probably one of the best Life Orbers there is in UU because it gets access to Fake Out. It can Fake Out, U-turn with that Life Orb because it has really good speed, and then it gets also Regenerator, so as soon as it bops back, it gets all that HP back. So it could be really annoying and hard to deal with if we don't bring something to outspeed it. Next up is Roserade, a Pokemon that really scares me because I've seen what it does in the lower tiers, and it really just kind of wrecks shop. Unfortunately for him, Grass Poison doesn't do a huge number to my team, but honestly I'm expecting him to bring Roserade this week just because of how versatile of a Pokemon it is, and I feel like it's definitely something that could hurt us. Next up, there's Swampert, ×4 weakness to grass. It's not Mega, so I feel like it's probably, if he does decide to bring it, going to be some kind of bulky offense, similar to Chestnut. It's got good defensive stats, but it gets no recovery, also similar to Chestnut. Then he has, for the last two Pokemon, Slurpuff and Mismagius. Slurpuff, nowadays, really all it does is a Belly Drum Citrus Berry set, but he could bring like a special wall if he wanted to. The way his team looks, it looks like it could fit in pretty well, because his Slurpuff does get Wish Recovery. And then Mismagius, who can't take a physical hit to save her life, but does look really good on the special side of the board. Nasty Plot is a thing, and so Mismagius could end up being something that he brings, and if he does, I'm definitely going to need to bring something to counter it. Just looking at his team right away, something that I see that's kind of glaring immediately is that Slurpuff and Slowbro are his only recovery, so he's going to need to bring those two Pokemon if he expects to have any kind of recovery on his team. So just from that, I'm expecting to see at least one of them, possibly both of them, just because if he doesn't bring them, he's not going to have reliable recovery on his entire team, save like leftovers Pokemon. So as I pull up my smartphone to look at the team we're bringing this week, it's a bit more standard than teams we've brought in the past weeks. We brought semi-hyper offense against Colton and the Omaha Omastars, and I'd prefer just to forget about the team we brought last week because I let down my team and what I brought. So this week, our very first Pokemon we're bringing, and it shouldn't be any surprise to anyone, is Diggersby. So Diggersby, nickname Roger, normal ground type, huge power. We're going to make him Adamant Silk Scarf this week. Really the set that I like the most to run with Diggersby. I was bouncing back and forth between potentially scarfing him so that he would definitely outspeed Manectric and more than likely outspeed Heatran, save it was a Choice Scarf Heatran, which is really only common in VGC, I feel like. But I feel like it's making a bit of a rebound in OU play. So we are bringing the Adamant Silk Scarf set, max attack, max HP, with max IVs and everything but special attack, Earthquake for the primary stab move, Return for the secondary stab move, Quick Attack for priority, and Swords Dance. Swords Dance, Silk Scarf, Quick Attack, huge power, max attack, Diggersby will do a number to everything on his team, save Heatran, and then really all we need to worry about that is Air Balloon or Choice Scarf Heatran. But if he is thinking that I'm going to go for something that I kind of feel like is going to happen here, and I'm not sure about it, but I feel like I'm going to switch into Mega Manectric, possibly. I feel like Mega Manectric usually carries Thunderbolt and Volt Switch. Potentially he goes for one of those. He might go for HP Ice and do a pretty good number to me, but with my set the way it is, even an HP Ice won't do an incredibly high amount to me. It'll bring me down to about half, and if it's a low roll, I might be able to live it above half. And then thinking I'm going to go for an Earthquake, switch out into an Air Balloon Heatran or something like that, and then I actually end up going for Quick Attack. Just something I feel like is going to happen, because if he does bring Air Balloon Heatran, that could be a big problem for me. So that's our first Pokemon we're bringing this week. Second Pokemon we're bringing this week is Thunderous Eye. Really it's just become a staple on our team just because of how well it syncs into the rest of our team, how well it does with the other members that we have. Flying Electric type with Prankster, Timid. We're going to bring the Choice Scarf set this week because the biggest thing I regret about last week is not bringing a Choice Scarfer. I brought too much bulk, I didn't bring enough speed, and it ended up costing me incredibly highly in that match. So we are not going to make that same mistake. So Choice Scarfer, max special attack, max speed, EV set so that I can carry HP Flying, which is for Chestnut, Grass Knot for Swampert, Volt Switch for the switch priority with a Choice Scarfer, and then Thunderbolt for Stab. Next up, Mega Gyarados, Scrimp, our Mega, one of the best Pokemon that we have, although it hasn't really had a chance to shine a whole lot so far. Really, I'm beginning to realize as I continue to go how hard it is to set up in this league, just because every time I bring Mega Gyarados, there's at least one thing that's ready for it, so it does make it really hard to bring a setup sweeper like Mega Gyarados. So at this point, what it's really good for, though, is being a really good distraction. So if people are preparing for Mega Gyarados, then they're not preparing for something else, and then something like a Diggersby or a Thundurus can go ahead and do some real work on the person's team. So at this point, even though Mega Gyarados hasn't had the stats of like a really top tier sweeper, it has done the work of being a distraction for people, and that is something as valuable to the team, if not more. Anyway, Jolly, max speed, max attack, Waterfall, Earthquake, Crunch, and Dragon Dance is the moveset. Next up, we're bringing something new that I was saying I would be bringing. We're going to be bringing the Assault Vest Amoonguss. Mr. Gus will be making his offensive debut. He's not just a wall this week. Regenerator, Modest, Max Special Attack, pretty moderate amount of HP, and then the rest in the special defense. Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, HP Ground, and Clear Smog. Clear Smog is really there for any potential setup sweepers. Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb are the, what's it called? Stab moves, then HP Ground, so we don't get completely shut down by Heatran. A flamethrower from a max special attack Mega Manectric does not OHKO Assault Vest Amoonguss from max HP, and then HP Ground will do a significant amount, then switch back out, get Regenerator up, all that good stuff. We have Jirachi this week as our Physical Wall, Impish, Physical Wall, Leftovers, Serene Grace, all that jazz. Zen Headbutt for the only attacking move, and then Stealth Rocks for Entry Hazard, Wish, and Protect. We are bringing the Wish Protect set this week. Hopefully just kind of going to play around a little bit with that. Hopefully Jirachi can take some hits, do what we needed to do, which is mostly set up hazards, because things like Victini, Heatran doesn't really like them, Victini hates them, a couple other it's going to hurt everything pretty well. In fact, if I look at his team real quick, Mega Manectric doesn't resist, Heatran doesn't resist, Slowbro doesn't resist, Chestnut will resist, Gligar doesn't resist, Mindshell will resist. So he only has three Pokemon that will resist the Stealth Rocks, which is why I feel like 3 out of 11. So even if he brought all three of those teams, all three of those Mons, which I don't think he will, he'll still be doing a decent amount to the rest of his team. So I think Stealth Rocks is important to bring this week, and then Wish Protect, maybe some Wish Passing, but definitely Recovery. And then lastly, we're bringing Florges this week after its mighty stall war with Suicune last week. Florges is making the rebound, exact same set as last week, literally the exact same. Leftovers, Moonblast, Toxic, Aromatherapy, Synthesis, same EVs, same IVs, because I feel like it definitely works really well for this team. Now, I started making the... Dom was supposed to be our very first match this year. It was supposed to be our very first preseason match that got canceled because he was moving and all that jazz. You guys remember that. So this team is actually like 7 weeks old. It was made a pretty decent amount of time ago, but I've been tweaking it as free agency has gone. I've been keeping a very close eye on Dom's team to see what he's been doing, and I feel like this team is definitely going to be able to put in the work against his, especially if he brings a couple of the Mons that I think he's going to bring. Then I definitely know that this team can put in the work, and even if he brings something I'm not expecting, I feel like I'm covered for most things. So anyway, that's the video. I'd like to thank you a whole lot for coming out to our press conference video and getting to know about what kind of sets and stuff we're bringing this week. The support on the channel means everything to me, so maybe hit that like button if you've enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, still hit the like button, but also maybe subscribe if you want to see more content. I do put out videos every Tuesday and Thursday currently for our Pokemon Silver Ultimate Randomizer. There's a playlist on the main channel page down below the new uploads if you want to go check those out. And also PBL press conference videos and PBL battle videos. Someone is calling me, so I need to go pick that up. My name is Lucas, aka Macho Emolga, and have an amazing Saturday.
Oh yeah!